Nobody, and I mean nobody, expected the rookie rivalry in women's basketball to go this far, this fast. But here we are. Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers isn't just a fun debate anymore. It's a full-blown war of talent, legacy, and future superstardom. And now, WNBA champions are jumping into the fire. It started with a simple matchup conversation. It exploded into a generational argument. On their podcast, Candace Parker and Aaliyah Boston.
All right, so last week we did our all-star starting five for our jersey numbers. This week on the internet, we saw a WNBA post about 2024 versus 2025 all-rookie teams. Who wins a game to 21? Why is it 21? Why can't it just be who wins a game?
No,
why is it gotta be 21?
Because people play to 21. That's what they
21 is like not 5 on 5. 21 is like, yo, check up. We got 3 people. You never played jackpot.
But
come on, man.
You can't just play to 21. Like, what's the point with 21?
I want a full game.
Two women who don't hand out empty praise and definitely don't entertain empty narratives finally addressed the question the entire basketball world has been choking on. Who actually wins head-to-head, Caitlin Clark or Paige Bueckers? Not in a highlight reel, not in a hypothetical fan argument, not in a pick your favorite poll, but for real, one-on-one, possession for possession, skill for skill, on a court where excuses don't exist. And their answers? Yeah.
And we're going to go down the list. This is kind of tough. I'm not going to lie. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Camila Cardoza, Rickea Jackson, Phoebish versus 2025, which is Paige Bueckers, Sonia Citron, Kiki Irifen, Dominique Malonga, and Janelle Salon. Ooh.
I can't even lie, though. Hear me out. I low-key think 2024 would win that.
They definitely have more shooting on 2024.
But I
Dominique Malonga.
Really
Let's just say the basketball world wasn't ready. This isn't some random debate cooked up on social media. This isn't fans screaming into their timelines. This is Candace Parker, one of the most respected players to ever step on a court, and Aaliyah Boston, who actually practices with Caitlin Clark every day, giving their raw, unfiltered, don't sugarcoated opinions. And what they said has already sent shockwaves through the WNBA, college basketball, and every fan base caught in the crossfire.
Against
Angel. Dominique Malonga.
Camila.
No, Dominique's got it. Yeah, Camila.
That's a matchup. Like, it's not just going to be a walk in the park. It's saloon.
Okay. We're going to do this. Who wins the matchup between Caitlin and Paige? I already know what you're going to say.
My girl, Caitlin. What?
Okay.
You knew that.
Who wins the matchup between Sonia Citron and... Rickea. We'll do Rickea. Sonia Citron and Rickea.
The only question now is whether you're prepared for what they actually said and what it means for the future of the league. Before we break down the takes, the matchups, the controversy, and the ripple effects stretching from Iowa to Indiana to Connecticut and beyond, tell me in the comments right now, Team Caitlin or Team Paige? And if you love deep, dramatic breakdowns of the biggest stories in women's basketball, make sure you subscribe to Her Hoops so you don't miss the next chapter of this rivalry. Trust me, we're just getting started.
That is more of like a coin toss, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Skill set wise, they actually play very similar, but I do think system wise it's different. So we're seeing different skill sets.
That's true.
Because Rickea doesn't play in Sonia's system and Sonia doesn't play in Rickea's system. Angel and Kiki.
Let me tell you, that would be one heck of a matchup.
Right?
That would really be one heck of a matchup.
That's why I said 21 isn't enough.
If you want to understand why Candace Parker and Aaliyah Boston's comments blew up the internet, you have to understand the history behind this rivalry and why Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers has always felt bigger than basketball. This didn't start in the WNBA. It didn't even start in college. It started back when both were still high school phenoms. Two players so dominant, so polished, so far ahead of their age group that everyone knew they were on a collision course long before they ever stepped onto a national stage. Paige was the original golden child.
You're right. We probably should do a full game.
That's what I said. We should do a full game. What's 21? 21 is like you just getting a little sweat in, you know?
It's really hard to put the matchups. Like, it's literally hard.
I'm going with 2024.
I'm going with 2024.
I'm going with 2024 right now. But long term, Dominique Malonga might be one of the best post players to play in the WNBA, to be honest with you. Okay, so we are going to do another rookie squad versus another rookie squad.
I prefer not, really.
What about
the prodigy, the face of the game before NIL, before super teams, before TV ratings shattered records? Her handle? Silky. Her vision? Generational. Her scoring? Effortless. At UConn, she became a star overnight. National Player of the Year as a freshman. Something unheard of. Then came Caitlin, the long-range assassin who played with rage, swagger, and range that looked physically impossible. She wasn't just good, she was a phenomenon. The type of player who bends the entire court to her will, commands triple teams, and still drops 35. The hype around her wasn't manufactured. It was earned possession by possession. For years, fans argued, who's better? Who's the real face of women's basketball? Who would win one-on-one? But because injuries delayed Paige's full rise, and because Caitlin's success came in an era of massive media visibility, their comparison became messy, emotional, tribal. Every big performance from one would ignite arguments about the other. Every slip, every quote, every highlight reel became ammo. And then the 2024 and 2025 rookie classes entered the picture. Two back-to-back draft classes loaded with stars, personalities, and generational-level talent. Suddenly, the Caitlin versus Paige rivalry wasn't just about two players anymore. It became the centerpiece of a much larger debate. Which rookie class is actually stronger? Which era is about to take over the WNBA? And who stands at the top of this new generation? So when the WNBA posted a simple graphic comparing the 2024 and 2025 rookies, it didn't just spark discussion, it detonated a storyline that had been simmering for years. And that's exactly where Candace and Aaliyah entered, ready to break down every matchup, every advantage, every weakness, and every layer of this rivalry. When Candace Parker and Aaliyah Boston started dissecting the matchup between the 2024 and 2025 rookie classes, they didn't waste any time. They went straight into the player-by-player breakdown, exactly the kind of analysis only pros can give. And of course, it began with the matchup everyone cares about: Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers. Aaliyah didn't blink, didn't hesitate, didn't need to think on it. Her answer? My girl Caitlin. Now that's not just a teammate hyping up another teammate. Aaliyah Boston guards Caitlin Clark in practice. She sees the reps, the reads, the adjustments, the film study, the moments no camera ever sees. When she says Caitlin wins that matchup, it hits different. Candace's reaction was telling. She expected the answer, but she wasn't disagreeing. Not strongly, not even subtly. And when Candace Parker isn't pushing back, that's a signal. Because Candace has seen every elite guard in the last 20 years. She knows what greatness actually looks like. But this wasn't a one-matchup conversation. They went through all five. Next came Sonia Citron versus Rickea Jackson, a matchup Candace called a coin toss. And she's not wrong. Both are polished, professional-ready wings with size, IQ, and versatility. They score. They defend. They read the game with maturity way beyond their years. But Candace brought up a detail casual fans never think about: system fit. The system you play in dictates how your strengths appear, and sometimes how they hide. Rickea's role with the Sparks is nothing like Sonia's Notre Dame system. Candace and Aaliyah understood that comparing players outside their systems takes nuance that stats alone can't show. Then they hit Angel Reese versus Kiki Iriafen, and both of them lit up. Pure physicality, pure motor, pure heart. Aaliyah said straight up, that matchup needs a full game, not a race to 21. Because over a full 40 minutes, fatigue, IQ, conditioning, and adjustments determine the winner, not just a hot shooting streak. And that's when things got especially interesting. Candace shifted from evaluating the matchups to evaluating ceilings. And that's when she said it. Dominique Malonga might one day be one of the best post players the WNBA has ever seen. That wasn't hype. That wasn't exaggeration. That was a Hall of Famer recognizing greatness before it peaks. Every matchup, every comparison, every breakdown revealed one thing. These two rookie classes aren't just stacked, They're the future pillars of the league. This is where the debate stopped being friendly analysis and turned into real tension. Because once Candace and Aaliyah got through the individual matchups, the conversation shifted from talent to advantages, biases, contradictions, and bigger truths that fans never seem to agree on. First contradiction? The game to 21 format. Aaliyah Boston shut that down immediately. She wasn't entertaining some quick pickup-style showdown. She wanted 40 full minutes, rotations, fatigue, coaching adjustments, real basketball, not a highlight contest. And she's right. A game to 21 favors shooters and streaky offenses. It hides weaknesses. It minimizes physicality. It makes defensive players almost irrelevant. But here's the twist. Candace Parker defended the 21 format. Not because it's better, but because it's realistic for how players actually settle debates on court. She wasn't wrong, but the conflict between what's realistic and what's accurate exposed a bigger truth. Even pros don't agree on how we should measure greatness. Then Candace dropped another curveball. She said the 2024 class wins, now. Not forever, not over 5 years, not at peak potential. Right now. Why? Shooting. The 2024 class has Caitlin Clark, arguably the most dangerous shooter in women's basketball history. Add Rikia's scoring, Angel's rebounding, and Camila Cardoso's size, and suddenly the floor spacing shifts dramatically. But here's the contradiction buried inside Candace's take. She also said Dominique Malonga, from the 2025 class, might become one of the greatest post players the league has ever seen. So Candace basically admitted this. 2024 wins the short-term battle, 2025 might win the long-term war. It's the rare moment where a debate doesn't have one answer but two, and both are true. Then came the self-reflection. Candace and Aaliyah compared their own rookie classes, 2008 versus 2023, and suddenly the tone shifted. No more hypotheticals, no more could be. This was honesty with teeth. Aaliyah tried to be loyal to her 2023 group, but she couldn't lie. She said it herself. I would be lying, and I would hate to get on this pod and start lying. That moment revealed the real escalation. This debate wasn't about favoritism. It wasn't about fan narratives. It was about truth, as seen by players who actually understand the game at the highest level. And that's why their Caitlin versus Paige take hit so hard. Because for the first time, the debate got stripped down to what the pros really think. Now that the emotions, contradictions, and early takes were out in the open, Candace and Aaliyah shifted into something far more revealing. The technical, basketball-specific breakdown that only elite players can give. This is where the debate transformed from entertainment into education. Because here's the truth. Fans argue with passion. Players argue with information. And the information they revealed about Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers and the rookie classes around them cut straight to the core of how pros evaluate talent. Let's start with Caitlin Clark. Aaliyah didn't just pick Caitlin because they're teammates. She picked her because of what she sees every single day in practice. How quickly Caitlin reads traps. How she manipulates defenses with her eyes. How she weaponizes spacing. How she uses her deep range not as a party trick, but as a strategic force. How she solves defensive schemes in real time, sometimes in one possession. People think Caitlin is just a shooter. Players know she's a system breaker. Now look at Paige Bueckers. Candace and Aaliyah didn't downplay her for a second. In fact, they praised her for what makes her unique. Her pace, smooth, controlled, deceptive. Her ability to get to her spots without forcing. Her mid-range mastery. Her ability to change rhythm and direction without losing balance. Her elite decision-making in tight spaces. Paige isn't explosive like Caitlin. She's surgical. Where Caitlin overwhelms you with pressure, Paige suffocates you with precision. And that's exactly why the pros take this debate so seriously. You're comparing two different basketball philosophies, played at an elite level. But the deep dive didn't stop with the guards. Rikia Jackson versus Sonia Citron. Candace's system comment wasn't just a throwaway, it was a masterclass. Rikia thrives in isolation-heavy sets. Sonia thrives in motion-based systems. Put them in each other's roles and their strengths and weaknesses shift dramatically. That's why pros hesitate to make definitive calls. They understand context. Angel Reese versus Kiki Iriafen. A game to 21? Forget it. Over a full game, this matchup becomes a test of endurance, physicality, interior footwork, defensive rotations, rebounding, IQ. Both players grind. Both players punish mistakes. Both players force physicality into every possession. That's why Aaliyah insisted on a full 40 minutes. Because in real basketball, the better conditioned and smarter player rises, not just the hotter shooter. And then there's Dominique Malonga. When Candace Parker says a rookie might become one of the best post players ever, that's not hype, that's recognition. Dominique's size plus her footwork plus her court vision equals a blueprint for dominance that doesn't fade with age. That's how dynasties start. This deep dive revealed something fans rarely see. Real basketball debates aren't about popularity, they're about layers. And no rivalry in the sport has more layers than Caitlin versus Paige. At this point, the Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers debate stops being about highlights, hype, or who had the better college game. It becomes something much bigger, something shaping the future of women's basketball on every level. Because this rivalry, it's not just fun, it's not just competitive, it's transformational. When Candace Parker and Aaliyah Boston break down these classes, 2024 versus 2025, it's more than a hypothetical scrimmage. It's a snapshot of where the WNBA is heading. 1. The talent level has officially shifted. The women's game isn't evolving slowly, it's exploding. Back-to-back draft classes filled with superstar guards, elite wings, dominant bigs, high IQ playmakers, physically developed athletes, players with enormous followings and cultural reach. This is the strongest two-year influx of talent the WNBA has seen in decades. Candace and Aaliyah know it. Fans know it. The league knows it. Revenue is up. Ratings are up. Attendance is up. And it's because the new generation is not just skilled, they're magnetic. Caitlin and Paige are the faces of that magnetism. 2. The rivalries drive engagement like never before. The Bird versus Magic comparison isn't exaggeration, it's accurate. Two contrasting superstars, two passionate fan bases, two storylines that will run for a decade. This rivalry is doing exactly what the NBA needed in the 80s. Pulling in casual fans, creating national conversations, driving merchandise, boosting team visibility, and making every matchup feel like a cultural event. When pros talk about Caitlin versus Paige, the internet stops. When the fans argue about it, timelines explode. When her hoops covers it, viewers click instantly. This is what generational rivalries do. They fuel the sport. 3. The debate exposes how pros really see the game. Casual fans think, who scores more? Who has more followers? Who hits the deeper threes? Pros think, who controls tempo? Who reads help defenders faster? Who adapts under pressure? Who fits in which system? Who elevates teammates? Candace and Aaliyah's conversation lifted the curtain. They showed the world that greatness isn't surface level. It's layered, complex, and built possession by possession. And that's why their Caitlin versus Paige opinions hit so hard. They're grounded in the realities of professional basketball. 4. The rookie classes represent the WNBA's future identity. 2024 is about spacing, pace, and shot making. 2025 is about versatility, size, and long-term upside. Together, they're about to reshape the way offenses run, how defenses rotate, and what elite looks like in the modern women's game. The broader impact of this debate isn't who wins today. It's what this rivalry and these two rookie classes mean for the next 10 years of the sport. And that brings us to the final point. This isn't just a battle, it's the beginning of an era. At the end of the day, this debate was never really about a single possession, a single game, or even a single matchup. Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers is the story that defines an entire generation of women's basketball. And Candace Parker and Aaliyah Boston just poured jet fuel on a fire that was already burning hot. Because when two champions, one a legend, one the present and future of her franchise, sit down and talk openly, honestly, and without a script, we get something rare: truth, insight, perspective, and a raw, unfiltered look at how greatness is judged by those who understand it best. Aaliyah choosing Caitlyn isn't just a vote, it's a statement. It's a teammate saying, "I battle this woman every day, and she's built for the moment." Candace slightly favoring the 2024 class isn't favoritism. It's a Hall of Famer recognizing a group that has already shifted the sport. Their praise for Paige isn't a consolation prize. It's respect from players who know her game is pure poetry when she's healthy. Their excitement for Dominique Malonga isn't hype. It's the kind of acknowledgement that comes when you see a once-in-a-generation physical blueprint. Their breakdown of Angel, Kiki, Sonia, Rikeya, every single one of those matchups, proves something the fans don't always see. We are entering the most talent-rich era in WNBA history. We are watching a rivalry that will define the next decade. We are witnessing two rookie classes that will raise the ceiling of the entire league. And the best part? This is only the beginning. Caitlyn is just starting to adjust to pro defenses. Paige hasn't even entered the league yet. Angel, Rikeya, Cardoso, Kiki, Sonia. They're all evolving, all growing, all sharpening. So who wins head-to-head right now? Aaliyah says Caitlyn. Candace nods. Fans explode. And the debate rolls on. But here's the real truth. There is no final answer. There is no settled discussion. There is no winner that ends the rivalry. Because rivalries like this aren't meant to end. They're meant to elevate. They push players. They push teams. They push the league. They push the culture. And whether you're Team Caitlyn or Team Paige, whether you think 2024 wins now or 2025 wins later, whether you're here for the drama, the matchups, the personalities, or the pure basketball, one thing is undeniable. Women's basketball has never been bigger, never been brighter, and never been more exciting than it is right now. And here at Her Hoops, we're going to be here for every single moment of this new era. So if you want more breakdowns, more debates, more drama, more matchups, and more real conversations about the biggest stories in the WNBA, hit like, drop your take in the comments, and subscribe to Her Hoops, because this rivalry, this era, this explosion in talent, it's only getting started.